rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how.
It's the one and only Queen of Receipts, the dropping gems in this YouTube street. The lawyer Royce, nowhere to go. Tune in for the infamous morning show, giving the news that you need to know. So don't you dare miss a wake-up call. Then in the evening, I got all for y'all. Get your dose of daily vitamins. You know the Queen makes it make sense. So true.
All right. Hello, Grand Rising, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to hit that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so let's get ready to get black into it. All right, let's get black into it. Okay, hey, Buckhorse DC, Easy is here. All right, Juju B is in the house. The lovely T, Cookie. All right, shout out to my moderators putting in work. Okay, I see you, Pearly. Okay, so everyone hit that like button. Also, hey, Nicole, Eric is in the house. Okay, Desmond, shout out to my moderators putting in work. I see you, Auntie Leah. All right, so let's get into it. All hell no is here. So before we get started with the nefariousness of it all, let's have our a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Okay, before we get started, here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribe oils for your hair at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so before we get started, because I see there's not a lot of people in here waiting for some more to start scraggling in, because again, with the notifications not going out. So before we get started, let's talk about Diddy. Okay, let's just have a summary of what I discussed yesterday for the whole Diddy situation. For those of you who missed it, please go back and watch. I'm going to do like a 5-minute summary on the nefariousness. Okay, because Diddy had some wins and some losses. Okay, he had moved to have Rodney Jones, aka Lil Rod's lawsuit dismissed. Well, the judge dismissed 5 of the claims, but kept the other ones. So the lawsuit is moving forward. And the main thing that the judge got rid of was the RICO against Diddy and Christina Coram. Okay, that was the tort RICO, not the criminal RICO. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about it. Sean Diddy Combs won a small portion of his uphill legal battle on Monday when a federal judge dismissed the Racketeer Influence and Corruption Act portion of the lawsuit, okay, filed by Rodney Jones, aka Lil Rod. Now, on Monday, Judge Paul Atkin of the United States District Court of the Southern District of New York weighed in on Diddy's defense team's motion to dismiss Jones versus Combs et al. In a 31-page opinion, granting the motion in part, but denying other portions related to the sexual assault and trafficking. Now, the slimmed down civil case will still move forward, but with the racketeering accusations struck from the case, along with the breach of contract claim and 3 causes of action related to infliction of emotional distress. Now, here's the thing. Some people were saying they didn't understand why the breach of contract didn't go through, because Diddy owes Rodney money supposedly for when he produced 9 songs on the Love album Off the Grid. But the bottom line is the reason that was stricken, the breach of contract, is because there was no paperwork. Okay, there was no written paperwork about that. There was no contract that was legally signed. Okay, that was just like something they had probably discussed. But of course, that would be Rodney's opinion or Rodney's word against Diddy's. So there was no paper contract to prove that. Okay, so along with the breach of contract claim and 3 of the causes of action related to infliction of emotional distress, those were all stricken. Now, Judge Atkin also dismissed the claim in the suit related to the Trafficking Victims Protection Act. In the dismissal of the RICO element of the lawsuit, the judge decided that Jones's case fails to prove any injury to his business or property, caused by a RICO enterprise overseen by Diddy, and therefore he can't sue under the claim that his complaints relate to any alleged illicit enterprise. Okay, now the judge said Jones's non-payment claim also lacked a causal connection with any purported racketeering activity. Okay, and then let's not forget that the judge had some harsh words of warning for legal counsel Tyrone Blackburn. A special warning to counsel section was added in the decision, okay, stating that this was directed towards Blackburn, Tyrone that is, stating that his filings are replete with inaccurate statements of law, conclusory accusations, and inappropriate ad hominem attacks on opposing counsel. For example, in urging the court to consider a grand jury indictment of Combs on related criminal charges, Blackburn writes, as evidenced by U.S. Attorney Williams's press conference and the grand jury indictment, defendant Sean Combs and the Combs RICO enterprise are presumed guilty of being a RICO criminal organization. Now, please pay attention to that. Said they're presumed guilty, but we all know that the law says that you're presumed innocent, okay, until found guilty. Okay, beyond a reasonable doubt. Now that the judge then said that any licensed member of the bar would espouse such an absurd understanding of the law is not just disturbing, but shocking. Okay. And so the judge wrote that the operative complaint and Blackburn's opposition brief are full of similar relevant insults, misstatements, and exaggerations. And see, the one you could argue that, oh, well, maybe he misspoke and just accidentally said that it was a Freudian slip, but he wrote stuff in these legal filings. So pretty sure that's what he meant to write. So anyway, he added that the court will not hold Mr. Blackburn's antics against Jones at this point, but warn the attorney of looming sanctions or referral for discipline should such conduct come. Okay, and mind you, basically they said that Mr. Blackburn has already been referred to the grievance committee. He's already got one referral to the grievance committee for having done things before that the judges deemed was inappropriate. So he's already been in a little trouble before. So the judge is just basically warning him like, look, don't keep it up, okay? Watch your step, all right, or else, okay? Thank you, Donna, for your contribution to the channel, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so like I said, if you missed anything that I uploaded yesterday or that either of the two lives, please go back and watch. Now, let's talk about it because, y'all, they're saying that this was a colossal up, okay, by Trump's administration. And in fact, it is. And what I find so interesting is that they're still to this day trying to lie and say that there was no classified information in that chat. Now, here's the thing. They're pointing the finger at one another. They're pointing the finger of blame at Jeffrey Goldberg, the journalist who was inadvertently added to the group chat with this leaked information. For those of you who don't know what the hell the Queen's talking about, let me just remind you, or let me just brief you real quick. So yesterday or last night, I reported on the classified information that was leaked via a Signal group chat text with Trump's people. You had a CIA director on there. You had the National Security Advisor. I mean, you just had a myriad of people, Tulsi Gabbard on there. I mean, you had different people on there, Pete Hegseth, and all these people talking about official business. First of all, here's the thing. They want to blame Waltz for inadvertently adding Jeffrey Goldberg, which I don't know how he accidentally did that, but he did. But also, more concerning is the fact that you have the CIA director on there running his mouth about an undercover CIA agent. Said the man's name and everything. This is a man who's undercover and his name has never been mentioned publicly. And so the problem is you're mentioning this person's name on an unsecure app. And the app is definitely unsecure. The Pentagon came out and had warned. Let me find this. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. The Pentagon had warned about hackers for the Signal app. So let's get into it. Days after the Signal leak, the Pentagon warned the app was the target of hackers. But this is what they're on there talking about, official government information, talking about airstrikes and all that, but they're saying it was no classified. Y'all giving up military secrets and information, but want us to think that this is not classified information. Here's the thing. If it wasn't classified information, as far as they're concerned, why wasn't it? It should absolutely have been considered classified information. So either they're fools who don't understand what classified and confidential actually means, and didn't think that the things they were saying were that, or they're just absolutely negligent and foolish for talking about it on an unsecured app. What do y'all have to say? I mean, didn't they all ride the short bus to school? No offense to anyone that actually did, but you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so several days after top national security officials accidentally included a reporter in a Signal chat about bombing Houthi sites in Yemen, a Pentagon-wide advisory warned against using the messaging app even for unclassified information, let alone classified. They say a vulnerability has been identified in the Signal Messenger application, begins the department-wide email dated March 18th. Okay, this is the email that they sent out. The memo goes on to say Russian professional hacking groups are employing the linked devices features to spy on encrypted conversations. It notes that Google has identified Russian hacking groups that are targeting Signal Messenger to spy on persons of interest. But this is what they were talking on. I just find it also interesting. A Signal spokesman said the Pentagon memo is not about the messaging app's level of security, but rather that users of the service should be aware of what are known as phishing attacks. That's when hackers try to gain access to sensitive information through impersonation or other deceptive tricks. Once we learned that Signal users were being targeted and how they were being targeted, we introduced additional safeguards and in-app warnings to help protect people from falling victim to phishing attacks. Now, this work was completed months ago. This is what Signal spokesman June Harada said. Now, the March 18th, 2025 Pentagon memo says, please note, third-party messaging apps are permitted by policy for unclassified accountability recall exercises, but are not approved to process or store non-public unclassified information. The encrypted Signal app is what Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and other leading national security officials within the administration used to discuss bombing Houthi sites, in Yemen this month. But they said it wasn't classified information that they divulged. The Atlantic's editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg, was inadvertently added to the group and was privy to the highly sensitive discussions. Now, in the military, sending classified data over insecure channels is called spillage. Okay, it can be a career ender for a military officer. They would get grave consequences. So my thing is, why aren't any of these people that were involved in that leaked chat conversation, why haven't any of them, or why aren't they going to get any type of consequences? Well, that's because Trump isn't going to give them any, okay, because they're all his bootlegs. Please pay attention. Now, the 2023 Defense Department memo prohibited use of mobile applications for even controlled unclassified information, which is many degrees less important than information about ongoing military operations. Now, there's almost no precedent for the heads of defense, state, intelligence, and national security to be sharing such sensitive military intelligence in a forum that was known to be unsecured. These are things that are absolutely basic. This is what John Bolton, former national security advisor during the first Trump administration, said. Yet these are cabinet level people in our government, and yet not one of them ever said, why are we on Signal? But Trump wants to talk about DEI hires and act as though they're incompetent and that they were just hired because of how they look or their race, gender, or whatever. I find it all interesting, okay? So what do you all have to say about that? And now here's the thing, like I said, they're blaming the man Goldberg. Now we're going to hear from him. We're going to hear from him in just a second. Hold on, let me pull this up. Let's go to what MSNBC had to say, because they were going in on them. Really going in on them. And the fact that they're still trying to sit up here and lie to our faces, they're playing in our faces and saying, oh, no, it wasn't anything classified. Of course it was. Yeah, we're talking about what time you're going to drop bombs and everything.
We're going to get into this ongoing mess with Signal. Yeah, I've seen this time and time again in the White House over 30 years. Administrations come and go. And, you know, I usually have the same advice for them, Republicans, Democrats alike. You know, they come in cocky. They think they're the first people that have, like, figured this out. And I mean, every single one. And now Richard will tell you that. And every time I say, do you not think the last administration, I remember telling somebody in the Obama administration, do you not think the Bush administration, when they walked through those gates the first time, thought that they were like masters of the universe? It's like, head down, do your job, serve your country, you'll be fine. But
if that's the goal.
yeah, but it's just again, and I'm not comparing the Trump administration to any past administration. I'm just saying there's just a degree of arrogance in this administration, top to bottom. You see in a lot of administrations, maybe not to this level. When something like this happens, you go, yeah, we effed up. Yeah. We you know what? We screwed up. We shouldn't have done it on Signal.
Let me tell you all something. I think that this was an inside job. Okay, I think that this was all done on purpose. Somebody behind the scenes, this is my opinion, did this on purpose. Okay, because leaking the war plan is the war plan itself. All right, please pay attention. At the end of the day, I absolutely think that this was all done on purpose because, for one, they all should have known better. They all should have known not to be talking on an unsecured app about things that are official government business that other people shouldn't be privy to know. They all should have known that. It's common sense. I think that somebody knew what they were doing, honey. I think it was an inside job, but let's keep listening.
It was a mistake. We're not going to do it again. Lessons learned. They just can't do it. And the thing is, it doesn't serve them well. They may think this serves them well. Even their own base knows. I mean, we can read from the Wall Street Journal. We can read from the National Review. You can look at even some people on Fox News. You can look at Brit Hume going, for God's sake, just admit you screwed up. But this whole thing about it's the journalists' fault that we added on our top secret, national. I mean,
that would be the wrong journalist.
That blame or saying it's not classified when you're talking about targets. Apparently there are CIA personnel listed in there. You're talking about the timing of an attack. This is classified material in every sense of the word.
It absolutely is. I want you all to pay attention. They're talking about what time they're going to have an attack and all of that. They could have gotten soldiers killed. There could have been all kind of catastrophic things that could have happened just from them being so negligent. And then here's another thing. Like I said, Radcliffe, I think his name is John Radcliffe, the CIA director. He's the one who named the undercover CIA officer, put his name in there. There's some things that Jeffrey Goldberg, when he's talked about this, the things that he saw and heard, he didn't name everything because he had sense enough to know that some of that stuff was just too sensitive to be revealed. Okay, and then Steve Witkoff. Now, this is Trump's real estate buddy. This dude was in Russia at the time. Okay, one of the members, they were talking about how one of the members of the group chat was in Russia. And then Steve Witkoff, which is, like I said, Trump's real estate friend, was over there. And he brought back a gift from Putin. Okay, he brought back a painting, hand delivered it to Trump from Putin. And so, the Democrats really have a problem with that. What's going on here? Y'all out here leaking stuff, and then Trump's getting a gift from Putin. Please pay attention. Not to mention the dude, Steve Witkoff, who is Trump's friend. He's already expressed how much he likes Putin before. He's talked about how Putin's a good person and all of this. So the Democrats, they really are having a time. They really are upset by all of this, and they're trying to link some type of connection to the Russians. Please pay attention. I mean, just notice how the Pentagon comes out after the fact saying that it's the target of hackers and then brings up Russian hackers specifically.
Say these guys messed up. We have confidence in them. These are the reforms we're going to do to make sure it's not going to happen again in the future. And we're undergoing investigation to make sure there were no more incidences like this, just to make sure American intel is safe. Just do it. It helps the administration that does that, but they just can't do it.
They can't do it. And of course, it comes from the top. Donald Trump's guiding philosophy is no retreat, no apology, of course, no humility about anything whatsoever. So you get Mike Waltz, the national security advisor, going on Fox News and talking about the journalists, talking about Jeffrey Goldberg, saying he's scum and he's a loser and how dare he do this. He didn't do anything except be added by you guys to a Signal chat in which, according to Jeffrey Goldberg, they discussed, as you said, operational details of an attack.
He's sitting
in Target.
He's sitting in his Atlantic office doing what Jeffrey does all day in his Atlantic office, drinking vodka and playing Parcheesi. And all of a sudden, this comes across.
Yeah.
I don't know where the Parcheesi comes from, but you'll explain that later.
He gets sloppy when he plays.
He's
pretty good.
Is he pretty good?
Yeah, pretty good at
Even after a couple of stiff drinks.
Not the guy.
No, but seriously, he's sitting there. He's doing nothing. And they add him. And they're calling him scum?
Okay.
Come on.
I mean, Jeffrey, I'm sure, would get into a skiff with some members of the Intel Committee and, let them perhaps see what exactly it is that he's being pushed now, defamed. He's going to be given no choice. Obviously, he wants to be responsible.
Can I say he actually did more to protect classified information than any of the people?
Exactly.
It's that simple.
So first of all, there is the public. There's what we're hearing the public from the administration, which is, again, no retreat, no surrender, straight out of a Bruce Springsteen song. But talk to us. Go behind the doors in the White House.
And let me say this. They say Trump is trying to downplay it. Okay, Trump's downplaying it, but he had so much to say about Hillary's emails back in 2016. Okay, now he wants to downplay this. But of course, we should expect that that's what Trump's going to do, because let's not forget that Trump, also Biden, but Trump left the White House with classified documents. Okay, and he had that stuff stored at his Mar-a-Lago resort. Now, I'm sorry, but how negligent and foolish was that? Not to mention, in his first term, if you all remember, he invited Russian government officials and a Russian media outlet, invited them into the Oval Office, and then gave them code word classified information on ongoing covert operations by Israel. Do y'all remember that? Not to mention, as of late, over 400 Social Security numbers have been leaked along with those JFK files, which didn't do anybody any good to view, because they really just say the same crap that they've always lied and told us in the first place. Okay, information from people's Social Security numbers, birth date, birthplaces, names, addresses, you name it, even one of Trump's own friends. Okay, I find it all interesting. So there's no surprise there as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, you're reporting some people not happy inside the White House at all.
Yeah, no, first of all, it's just a real throwback also to the first Trump term, which was so chaotic and sloppy and messy. And they really tried this time around to pride themselves on being more professional. They're getting more things done. So for some in the West Wing, it was an unfortunate reminder of how things were. But there is some unhappiness here. The president himself, as I report today, doesn't like a lot of the media coverage that's surrounded about this. Yes, it's a familiar playbook, though. Attack the messenger. Go after the Jeffrey Goldberg. Go after the reporter, the outlet.
And then here's the thing I want you all to pay attention to. Trump is so ridiculous. He called the journalist who was mistakenly added, who didn't ask to be added, who didn't ask to be privy to what they were discussing. Trump called him a sleaze bag yesterday when they were having a White House briefing about the situation. He called the man a sleaze bag, y'all. All the man did was get accidentally added to something he had nothing to do with, but he's the sleaze bag. Edward said Biden also. Yeah, Biden did have some classified information as well. Yeah, he sure did. I think I reported on that too. Okay, this is all so crazy. Greta Lee says this is who the American people wanted, so now they have him. A felon and not very smart person. Okay, the Inkwell says the Hill reported they will publish the info today to prove his claims. Jeff ATL said Trump is an idiot. Hold on, but I think that Trump and the guy who was accidentally added may have a history of not getting along. Hold on, let me go back to the share. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
That goes back to Jeffrey reporting from people who work for Donald Trump about what he said about the
suckers
people.
and losers.
Yeah, and so that's
there's
deeply personal for him,
right.
Which of course doesn't explain why he's attacking the messenger, the guy who actually protected national security secrets better than his own national security team.
Yeah, there's long-held animosity there from Trump to Jeffrey. But this is something where he has expressed some unhappiness. He has told people he wants to see how this plays out next 3 days. But his instinct is to support Waltz. And as you say, to never apologize, to always just attack. But there's also a bit of a dare here. We heard this from the press secretary yesterday, others in the administration, over and over saying there's nothing classified, there's nothing untoward about this text. Well, what that's doing is, to Richard's point, Jeffrey, to this point, has withheld a lot of this information, saying, look, this could compromise individuals. This is classified. This isn't our place to put out in the public. Well, either you could, A, go public with it because you've just been told it's not classified, so you can do that, or B, cooperate with members of Congress and show them what's in the material.
Again, what's so crazy is Jeffrey is being responsible about the classified information.
Okay, so that's enough of that. So with that all being said, they said the Democrats want to investigate the signal blunder and federal return to office complications. Okay, so the CIA Director John Ratcliffe and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard appeared before U.S. senators yesterday to answer tough questions. Okay, about how the security breach that led to secret war plans being shared with a journalist could have happened. Now, they were both included in a group chat on the Signal app. Okay. Other officials in the chat discussed the U.S. bombing campaign in Yemen. The messaging app isn't a secure U.S. government communications system. Ratcliffe stated that the U.S. officials are allowed to use Signal to communicate for government work purposes. He and Gabbard said there was no classified information in the chat from an intelligence perspective. They continued by saying that when it comes to specific military information about the airstrikes, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has the authority to determine what is classified. Lucas says top House and Senate Democrats called for investigation into the breach. As federal employees return to the office under the Trump administration, Trump's administration's orders, some have found shortages of desks. What is this all about? Okay, this is about the people going back to work. Okay, that's something else. Well, anyway, so basically, like I told you, they're still lying, saying there was nothing classified in there, but they're full of crap. And then you have people trying to basically, defend it by saying, well, Reagan had leaked classified information too. This happens in every administration. Listen to this. Every administration since Reagan has mishandled classified documents. This is what they say. So they go on to say that the officials made the revelation when they spoke with the White House Intelligence Committee behind closed doors in early March, according to a transcript. The release comes as President Biden and former President Trump are both under investigation over the handling of White House records after classified documents were found on their private property. NARA Chief Operating Office William Bosanko told lawmakers that when every presidential administration from Reagan on forward, the agency has found that classified information was stored in unclassified boxes. Bosanko said that those boxes were in the agency's custody when the documents were found. Officials also revealed that the issue of mishandling classified documents extends beyond the White House. Mark Bradley, who directs the agency's Information Security Oversight Office, told lawmakers that since 2010, he has received over 80 calls from libraries that have found classified documents and papers belonging to members of Congress. Y'all hear this? Bradley said that when members of Congress retire, they sometimes give materials to libraries. Bradley said late Senator Edmund Muskie of Maine, who left the chamber in 1980, gave 98 classified documents to Bates College. When these records are being processed, librarians know to call us. We dispatch a team to go retrieve them and bring them back to Washington. In a statement, House Intelligence Committee Chairman Mike Turner from Ohio said testimony from the National Archives and Records Administration officials make clear that the handling and mishandling of classified documents are a problem that stretches beyond the Oval Office. We need a better way for elected officials who are leaving office in both the executive branch and legislative branch to properly return classified material and protect the integrity of our national security. Within the past year, classified documents have been found in the private possession of Trump, Biden, and former Vice President Mike Pence, prompting lawmakers and federal officials to investigate. Trump is facing additional scrutiny over his apparent efforts to avoid returning White House records to NARA. Okay, so do you all hear this? Do y'all hear this? They said some members of Congress even have these things, classified records, and then give it to libraries and whatnot. All so crazy. But let's go to Mr. Goldberg. Greenberg. I keep calling him Goldberg. His name is, I think it's Greenberg. But anyway, this is the journalist, Jeff Goldberg. That's his name, Jeffrey Goldberg. We're going to go to him. He's the journalist who was added to the chat. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Likes up. Ever says, thank you, Queen. You're welcome, beloved. Okay, here we go.
And joining me now for his first Cable News interview since finding himself in that group chat is Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic. Let me first say, I've known you a long time. You've been covering national security issues for a long time. And
longer than you've been alive, probably.
I don't know about that.
Well,
you're not 100, but
not
yes,
100.
for quite a long time. So with which most national security officials in government take these issues. Yeah. Let me ask you, one of the things that struck me is that the information shared, you mentioned the specifics of the war plan's operational details.
Right.
There was also, I mean, John Radcliffe, who has been in government before, who has had access to national security before, he was on this chain, director of the CIA. He shared, reportedly, according to your reporting, the details of someone you didn't name because you know well enough not to share information like this, of somebody who was sounded like a covert operative.
So what happened at the beginning of this chain was the principals, the cabinet level people were asked by Mike Waltz, who is going to be your point of contact in the next 72 hours when we move toward a strike against the Houthis, right? I'm reading this and I'm like, oh, they're really talking about a strike against the Houthis. Radcliffe names, I mean, other people name other people who are publicly named public figures. Radcliffe names a person. I'm not going to say the name. The whole real name of this person, who is going to be his liaison. In the course of my reporting and trying to understand, I came to understand that this is an active CIA officer. His name has never been in public before, who is
everyone on the chain may not have had need to know who this person
well, yeah,
was.
because remember, the chain is pretty big. The chain is not just 5 intelligence officials or 4 defense officials. It's defense, intelligence, treasury. It's the chief of staff of the White House. It's people who certainly don't need to know the names of, I mean, as you know from the classified world, from the secret world, the less you know, the better. Right, the less you have to go to sleep with at night, the better off you are in many ways. You can't get into trouble from not knowing something that you shouldn't know. And so I have to say, somewhat astonished that he would put this official's name into what is essentially an open channel. Forget the fact that he, like everyone else, had no idea that they were sharing that information with the editor-in-chief of the Atlantic magazine in the same chain, because nobody had asked during the course of this, who is this JG? You know, my initial showed up as JG.
And you don't know who that, do you know who that is at this point?
I have no idea. I have no idea who, in other words, who Mike Waltz was looking for. I don't know. He didn't answer that question for me.
The thing about signal chats is you have to invite people. You have to list the names to create a group. So there was a conscious just adding of you to this group.
Yes.
There's been a lot of effort to respond. I mean, I noted as I just kind of gave the summary.
And do you all hear this? And that's exactly why I think it was an inside job. Okay, I think it was an inside job. Did he accidentally add him to the group? Did he accidentally add him to the group? Because you have to be paying attention to do that. That's just like on the Telegram app when we add people to our private chats. Okay. This all sounds like this may have been done on purpose. Noah said anyone can tap, no firewall. Cookie said, Queen, you're right, inside job. Yeah, I absolutely think it was. Okay, but let's keep listening.
Of the piece, you got a response from the National Security Council spokesperson. No.
Oh, yeah, and every agency has been saying, just ask the National Security
Council. Just ask them, punting it to them.
Well, what's going on a, you could read the tea leaves here. It's Mike Waltz put this group together, not me. Don't ask me, ask him. That's what's going on.
But every one of those individuals should have known that they shouldn't be having these conversations.
Look, we all like to think that we're really good at digital hygiene, but most of us are not good at digital hygiene. And if there's a lesson here, I mean, a lesson for a normal person living in the world, it's know who you're texting with. I mean, it's kind of basic. And if, by the way, if you're running a major intelligence operation or the Pentagon, maybe you should know how to operate in a digital environment.
And you said you haven't seen a breach like this. I mean, you just said that. You've covered.
There's been a lot of breaches. There's been a lot of leaks. There's been a lot of stolen cases of stolen documents. I've never seen a large group of senior-most national security officials just kind of willy-nilly put out a bunch of stuff, without knowing who they're talking to.
So they've been punching you and others to the National Security Council spokesperson statement, which I want to talk about in a second too. But in the last hour, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth reacted to your story after landing for a trip to Hawaii. He didn't initiate the chain, but he had a lot to say on the chain, it seems. Reporters
asked
him,
the most sensitive things to say.
He had the most sensitive things to say, including the kind of war detail plans that you didn't even include in your reporting because you didn't want to put operational details in your reporting.
Look, I mean, we can say this now. We know American pilots are involved in this operation. That's very, very dangerous work. I found out about this as a civilian 2 hours before that the operation launched. The last thing I want, even as a reporter who wants to know about government decision-making, obviously, the last thing I want is to see American lives endangered in any way.
Which is why you didn't include it. And this is why it could have been many people on that chain, which is part of the thing I think that should be explored. Let me play what Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth had to say.
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again. Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that.
I don't expect you're going to respond to every aspect of that, but nobody was texting war plans. Again, you have extensive reporting. Anybody can read it. What is your reaction to that?
Look, I'm going to be responsible here and not disclose the things that I read and saw. I will describe them to you. The specific time of a future attack, specific targets, including human targets.
Now, do you all hear this? Definitely these were war plans, specific times of specific attacks, the names of targets. This was absolutely war plans, sitting up here and lying to our faces. Okay, and adamant with his lies. Please pay attention. And I was so disappointed in Tulsi Gabbard. Okay, she has turned into one of Trump's minions, clearly. Okay, so TC Dan said, did you talk about Jasmine Crockett's comments? Thank you, beloved, for your question and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Yes, I did. I talked about that last night. In fact, I played her comments, and I also played what the Republicans on Fox News had to say about it, because they were none too pleased.
meant to be killed in that attack, weapon systems, even weather reports, or that the government is I don't know why Hexet was sharing it with everybody. I mean, the precise detail of, and then a long section on sequencing. This is going to happen, then that is going to happen. After that happens, this happens, then that happens, and then we go and find out if it worked. I mean, he can say that it wasn't a war plan, but it was a minute by minute accounting of what was about to happen, organized by CENTCOM, Central Command, which is the military oversight group of the Middle East, the broader Middle East. This is their plan, and he was taking their plan and sharing it with a bunch of civilian leaders. It's interesting because as I'm reading it at 11:44 a.m. on Saturday morning, the 15th, seeing that the Houthis are not going to know about this for another couple of hours.
And you know about it.
Well, and I know about it, and I'm thinking to myself, I mean, honestly, I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm glad that Mike Waltz didn't invite a Houthi into the group or a Russian spy or an adversary of the United States. But put that aside. I'm reading this and I'm wondering, not only why am I reading this, but why would the Secretary of the Treasury need to know the precise attack sequence of this upcoming operation? Again, I don't want to talk about weapon systems, packages, targets in any specificity because, I'm trying to be, I want to be a responsible person, and I'm more interested in the decision making anyway than I am in the actual technical details of it. But the whole thing is just very flummoxing to me because I haven't seen this kind of unserious behavior before. And, and the Secretary of Defense, all due respect, in that presentation seems like a person who's unserious and is trying to deflect from the fact that he participated in a conversation on an unclassified commercial messaging app that he probably shouldn't have participated in.
And there are receipts for it, which is always the danger of that. Jeffrey Goldberg, this reporting, you never know what you're going to wake up to in this day and age. We woke up to this today. Thank you so much for taking the time. Anybody can read this piece online on the Atlantic site.
Okay, so please pay attention, honey. They're sitting there trying to blame this man. And my thing is, either they're just some bumbling, incompetent idiots, okay? Because let's not negate the fact that Trump seems to have purposely hired people that are the most incompetent people and clearly amateurs for these top positions. That's what it seems like he absolutely did, okay? And then want to sit there and try to go in on Mr. Goldberg when they're the one that made the mistake. And Pete Hegseth, let's pay attention, because how the hell is he, how does he even have this position? Okay, United States Secretary of Defense, but previously he was just a contributor on Fox News. Okay, he's clearly not qualified for the position. And I wonder if someone, because here's the thing, when you think about the fact that they inadvertently added someone to the chat, but of all the people, of all the job titles and professions, to add someone who is a journalist, a very well-known journalist at that, was somebody trying to do this on purpose? Because either they're a bunch of bumbling idiots, okay, who are clearly incompetent, or this was an inside job. Take your pick. Okay? Take your pick. Because how the hell do you accidentally add a top journalist, the editor of The Atlantic? That's who you accidentally added, and no one thought to question who the hell is JG, just initials. And here's the thing. If this person was added merely as JG, then the person who added them, Waltz, has to be like close with this person pretty much. That if you just list them by initials, because you obviously know who those initials belong to, and not having to list their whole name so you know exactly who it was, and then you add them to the chat, somebody who's a journalist, a renowned journalist, okay, mind you. I think that was on purpose, okay? And they're still incompetent because, for one, you shouldn't be talking about classified government business on an unsecured app. That's what you shouldn't be doing, nor should you be saying things that, are just nobody's business. Specifically, the CIA director, John Radcliffe, sitting there giving the name of the agent who's undercover. Talking about airstrikes and talking about when you're going to attack and talking about the targets of attacks and all of that. But they want to sit up here and say, oh, nothing to see here, folks. There was no classified information. I mean, the lies. It is just the lies of it all for me. Please pay attention. Please pay attention. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. So, Goldberg saw and heard a lot. Lucky for them, he's not going to divulge certain things. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's go to this last video where, hold on, let me make sure this is it. Where they talk about how this could have potentially been a deadly mistake. Okay, yeah, like I told y'all, they could have gotten people killed, specifically soldiers. Here we go.
Signal group this morning.
Thanks, Senator.
The House Intelligence Committee will hold its hearing with 2 of the Trump administration members involved in that Signal group chat. Let's bring in the ranking member of that committee, Democratic Congressman Jim Himes of Connecticut. Given yesterday's hearing, Congressman, what are you hoping in terms of answers that you will get today?
Well, thanks for having me. Yesterday, despite the fact that they presumably spent the whole night sort of thinking about questions like how will accountability be visited? Will there be an investigation? You remember the FBI director's answer, well, I just learned about this, so I can't answer your question. Today is going to be partly about how the administration is going to investigate this outrageous breach of security and how they're thinking about accountability. We haven't talked a lot about it, but America could watch what happened yesterday in front of the Senate. But what we can't forget is how they have reacted to a breach which could have resulted in dead pilots or sunken naval ships, right? Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, when asked about this after the National Security Council confirmed it as genuine, reacted by attacking Jeffrey Goldberg, the Atlantic reporter. And by the way, Mike Waltz did it in the White House yesterday. Here are people who put our troops at risk, and their immediate instinct was to say, this is about a reporter who doesn't like Donald Trump, by the way, who didn't ask to be on that Signal chat. But, imagine what the millions of people who've been in the military see when they see that. They see, A, that had they done any of this stuff, they would have been marched off whatever base they were serving on and tossed out. And B, they got to think about these people that control their lives and their safeties and make life and death decisions. And rather than saying, boy, did we make a terrible mistake and we will spare no expense to find out how it happened and to make sure it never happens again, they said, oh, Jeffrey Goldberg doesn't like Donald Trump. That is not the answer of a serious person.
So, Congressman, good morning. So, obviously, we had shifting accounts yesterday from DNI Gabbard, from the CIA director. They'll both be in front of your committee again today. What are some of the unanswered questions, as you said, they've now had a night to think about it. What are some of the unanswered questions here that you're really going to demand answers from today?
Well, a lot of those questions have to be directed at the defense secretary, right? In our purview is this interesting thing that Jeffrey Goldberg writes about, that the director of CIA may have put information up so sensitive that Goldberg didn't want to disclose it. Now, he's thinking about, I suppose, whatever he's going to do there. But, people need to remember a couple things. The defenders of this outrageous act are saying, well, they said it wasn't classified. Well, guess what? To be in violation of the Espionage Act, stuff doesn't need to be classified. By the way, if the information was time, targets, and weapons, if it wasn't classified, what were you thinking? Why wasn't it classified? So, there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered. None perhaps more important than the question of how seriously they're going to begin taking this so that they can learn from their colossal, potentially deadly mistake.
Congressman, do you think you'll get an answer to the question of who put Jeffrey Goldberg on this list?
Well, I'm not sure they know yet. In fact, I bet you anything that if and when we ask the question will be like, well, there's an investigation underway. And by the way, I have no confidence that that is true. When the FBI director can't say I'm on it yesterday, I'm not sure that there's any investigation underway. So, I fear that we're going to continue to see the circling of the wagons, the attacking of Jeffrey Goldberg, and a total failure to acknowledge the seriousness of what these people did and to think about the people who report to them, whose lives hang in the balance. So we'll see.
Ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, Democratic Congressman Jim Himes of Connecticut. Thank you very much for coming on this morning. We'll be watching.
All right, so they're catching a lot of flack. Pay attention. And he's right. They absolutely are blaming that man, Jeffrey Goldberg, at the end of the day. And, Pete Hegseth, he's the main one at fault here as far as I'm concerned, because he was saying the most sensitive comments. And he's so furious. But now they're saying his job may be on the line. Is Pete Hegseth's job on the line for war plan text blunder? Will Donald Trump fire him? Trump's not going to fire him because he's a butt kisser. Trump loves anybody who's a yes man for him. Okay, that's what he does. Now, goes on to say Pete Hegseth faces growing demands to step down after a leaked Signal Group chat revealed classified military plans for strikes against Houthi targets in Yemen. Now, the messages intended for top officials like Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Mark Rubio were accidentally shared with the Atlantic editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg. The breach, first reported on March 15th, included precise details about attack strategies, weaponry, and timing, igniting accusations of gross negligence in handling national security. Social media users slammed Hegseth, with many calling the leak a disgrace and evidence of incompetence. And I absolutely love it. They're saying this is nothing but incompetence. And I find it also ironic because Trump has been going around here, he and Elon, acting as though anybody who they deem as a DEI hire were the ones who were incompetent, okay, and not worthy of their positions. Meanwhile, he hires a bunch of goofballs who are in no way, shape, form, or fashion at all, okay, experienced or qualified for their respective positions, in my opinion. Now, goes on to say critics accused him of undermining U.S. security, with one post labeling him the ultimate DEI hire, a jab at diversity initiatives. Now, others argued the entire group chat participants, okay, including high-ranking officials, should resign for failing to safeguard sensitive information. Now, the backlash highlights mounting scrutiny over the Biden administration's protocols for sharing classified intelligence. Former President Donald Trump downplayed the incident when questioned, claiming why did they call him former President Donald Trump when he's the current president? Clearly shade, but let me continue. Former President Donald Trump downplayed the incident when questioned, claiming he had only just learned about it and dismissing The Atlantic as a failing magazine. Okay, trying to talk trash about the man's publication and then saying that he'd only just heard about it, which is a lie. Because if anything to this magnitude happens, who's the first person they have to report to? Okay, the president. Like Trump, sit down somewhere. His remarks mirrored past tactics of deflecting controversies tied to his administration's appointees. So while the leak centers on U.S. officials, Canadians may recognize parallels in debates over government transparency and national security. Now, as a NATO ally, Canada often collaborates with the U.S. on intelligence sharing, making such breaches relevant to cross-border trust. Additionally, the incident raises questions about digital security practices, a concern for Canadian policymakers, and rising cyber threats. Yeah, they're looking real crazy right about now, not just to their own people, but to other country leaders as well, okay? Just to make fools out of themselves. And Pete Hegseth said he should be fired, but he won't be. Now, let's talk about the gift that Putin gave Trump that was brought back to him and hand-delivered by his real estate friend, Steve Witkoff. Putin gifted a portrait of Trump to the U.S. president. Now, the Kremlin confirmed Monday that Russian President Vladimir Putin was gifted or has gifted to Donald Trump a portrait that he commissioned of the U.S. president. Putin gave the painting to Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, in Moscow earlier this month. The Russian president's spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov, said this in a response to a journalist's question, declining further comments. Okay, so I just want you all to think about this. Now, they're having this conversation, and they're talking about all of these military attacks and everything that's going on, airstrikes, and all of that on an unsecure chat app. And then add someone that's not supposed to be on there. Then they have one of their members over in Russia at the same time that's in the chat, okay, putting in and seeing information as well. Right over there with Putin. And then Putin sends Trump a gift. What do you think the Democrats have to say about all of it? Okay. Now, anyway, the gift was first mentioned last week by Witkoff in an interview with former Fox News host Tucker Carlson. Witkoff told Carlson that Trump was clearly touched by the portrait, which he described as beautiful. Where do y'all see it? Hold on. Said it was beautiful. Witkoff met Putin after talks with Russian officials about trying to end the war in Ukraine. Ceasefire talks continued Monday in Saudi Arabia, where U.S. officials met their Russian counterparts a day after meeting with Ukrainian negotiators. Now, during his interview with Carlson, Witkoff described Putin's gift as gracious and recalled how Putin told him that he had prayed for Trump last year when he heard the then candidate for the U.S. presidency, had been shot at a rally in Pennsylvania. He was praying for his friend, Witkoff said, recounting Putin's comments. Hold on, I'm going to show y'all the painting in just a minute. I'm letting the suspense build. Now, in 2018, Putin gave then President Trump a soccer ball that the Secret Service had checked for listening devices before Trump gave it to his son. Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? Denise said, Queen, they're past looking foolish to other countries. Hold on, do you all hear this? DSB, thank you for your contribution to the channel, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings, okay? It said that Putin gave Trump a soccer ball, and the Secret Service checked it for listening devices before Trump gave it to his son. Sheppy says, Russia has never been the enemy. You know, I would agree with you on that, beloved. I would agree. Now, anyway, it goes on to say the Secret Service had checked it for listening devices before Trump gave it to his son, a precaution that harkened back to a Soviet-era gift to a U.S. diplomat that turned out to be bugged. Can never be too careful. Now, in 1945, a carving of the Great Seal of the United States was given as a gift from Soviet school children to then U.S. Ambassador Vreli Harriman. It hung in his office for 6 years, allowing the Soviet Union to eavesdrop on his conversations until the State Department discovered that it contained a covert listening device. Ooh, those pesky Russians, they're so crafty, wouldn't you say? Now, it was not immediately known if the portrait Putin gave to Trump had been examined for bugs. The White House hasn't commented on the portrait. Trump isn't the first sitting president to receive a gift from Putin. In 2021, Putin gave then President Joe Biden a $12,000 lacquer writing box and pen. And then when they met at a summit in Geneva, Switzerland. In 2013, he reportedly sent then President Barack Obama porcelain plates and espresso cups. Okay, and so with that all been said, this apparently isn't the first portrait of a U.S. leader that Putin has sent either. In 2014, the Russian president reportedly sent to George H.W. Bush a portrait of the former president on his 90th birthday. All right, then. So Putin's out here sending gifts, and the U.S. doesn't like him. Here's the painting right here. What y'all got to say about it? What y'all got to say about it? Anyone venture to guess who the artist was? Hold on. President Bush and President Putin had a close working relationship, I think, says TC Dad. Oh, okay. Now, I think that might be the picture, the painting, because that's the one that Rachel Maddow showed. But here's another one. It might be this one. I don't think this is it, though, because it says a likeness of Trump hanging in the Colorado state legislature attracted his ire. Yeah, I don't think Trump likes this one. Anyway, goes on to say, hold on. U.S. President Donald Trump has been gifted a new portrait from his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, while trashing an existing painting of him as truly the worst. Okay, so this is the one that Trump doesn't like. Now, let me put that one back up here again, because this is the one that Trump doesn't like. So that's why Putin had to have him another one painted, doing him a favor. I mean, quite frankly, I don't like either one of them. They both look a hot mess to me. Hey, but that's just me. This is the one that Trump doesn't like. Okay. That's the one hanging in the Colorado state legislature. Trump said, Trump said, nope, I don't like it. And so then Putin had the new one made. That one looks, I don't know. What y'all think? Which one do y'all like the best? Which one y'all like the best? Hold on. Jeff said that's because Trump is actually white in that painting instead of orange. TC Dan said Putin looks a little better, but not much. Y'all are crazy, honey. I am not. Chris Y said the artist ran out of orange. You all are low down, okay? Y'all are low down. Anyway, I'm about to be up out of here. All right, I got one more thing to tell you all. Hold on, I got one more thing to tell y'all. I was going to do a separate video, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you all. Hold on. Where is it? I got to tell you all, how many of you heard about what's going on with 23andMe? Did you all hear about what's going on with 23andMe? One's in the chat. One's in the chat. TC Dan said, don't leave, Queen Honey. Y'all think I just got nothing else to do? Okay, listen. Y'all want me to sit up here and do a 4 and 5 hour live like some of these folks be doing? I just cannot. I just cannot. Okay, so let's talk about it, because 23andMe, if you used it, beware. Okay, I never used it because, in fact, I told you all that I don't want my DNA being stored anywhere. Okay, I don't know what kind of nefariousness people are up to. So, but listen to this. 23andMe bankruptcy filing sparks privacy fears as DNA data of millions of people go up for sale. Folks have absolutely no say in where their data is going to go. This is what Tazan Khan, the CEO of the nonprofit Cyber Collective, which advocates for privacy rights and cybersecurity for marginalized people, had to say. Honey, these people is going bankrupt, and all y'all's business is about to be out here in the streets. I'm about to share my screen so y'all can hear this, honey. If you used it, honey, you use it at your own risk, or perhaps even your own peril. Pay attention.
A key to unlock family history and possibly improve one's own health.
My DNA journey started here with 23andMe.
But now 23andMe, the company that has collected genetic samples from millions of customers, is filing for bankruptcy.
I'm the California Attorney General. I'm also a consumer. It's a decision that's best for me to delete today.
Attorney General Rob Bonta says he's deleting his 23andMe account and others should consider doing the same thing. What is your biggest concern about this bankruptcy?
That the private sensitive data and information of 14 million consumers who have used 23andMe could get into the wrong hands.
In a statement, 23andMe says it will continue operating its business in the ordinary course during bankruptcy proceedings, adding there are no changes to the way the company stores, manages, or protects customer data. But in 2023, a cyber breach exposed the data of nearly 7 million customers. 23andMe settled a lawsuit for $30 million. Last fall, the company announced it was letting go of hundreds of employees and closing its therapeutics division because profits were dropping. Still, co-founder Ann Wojcicki sounded upbeat about 23andMe's future at the time.
Is the company still viable, in your opinion? 100%. Is it?
Yes, I definitely I believe in the company. I believe in the long-term mission, but I believe it's essential for us to restructure.
Posting today that her belief in the company and its future is unwavering. Wojcicki says she is stepping down as CEO so she can possibly buy the company back herself if the court allows it to be auctioned off. And whoever buys it will have to follow the original privacy statements, according to 23andMe.
But that doesn't mean those privacy statements can't change in the future.
Glenn Cohen is a Harvard law professor. What is your message to customers today about 23andMe?
Pay careful, close attention to what happens next. Be careful about clicking through anything that looks like a change in the privacy statement.
So, Stephanie, what does this mean? If you want to delete your account with the end goal of deleting the DNA, how do you go about it?
So you go into your profile, into settings. There's a section there called 23andMe data. You have an option, Lester, to download your data or permanently delete it.
All right, Stephanie, thanks.
All right. All right. Well, y'all heard that. So at the end of the day, if you use it, I would suggest that you delete the app. Okay. And I just want you all to pay attention. But they had us so worried about TikTok. The U.S. government had us so worried about TikTok giving up our information. And then we have a breach or a leak from Social Security with people's names, numbers, addresses, birth dates, birthplaces, all private information leaked. And now a leak of sensitive military information, war plans leaked. But they want us to worry about TikTok, y'all. Please pay attention. Okay, did y'all even notice that? I find it also interesting. Anyway, with that all been said, I'm out of here. Listen, I love you all to life. Okay, where's DSB? DSB, I need you to do me a favor. DSB, I have something very important to discuss with you. I need you to send me an email. Okay, DSB, I'm talking to you. I need you to send me an email. So I have your email address because I need to get in touch with you about something. To the root of all evil 227@gmail.com. Okay, there you go. I see you, DSB. So send the queen an email after this broadcast, just so I can have your email address at the root of all evil 227@gmail.com. Moderators, please put the email in the chat, please. Okay, so anyway, with that all been said, I hope you all enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, and never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And listen. Sure, DSB, hold on. Now listen. I need you all to make sure. Hold on, I'm putting something in the chat real quick. Okay, there it is. The root of all evil 227@gmail.com. Okay, so anyway, listen, I need you all to do your due diligence to make sure you're double checking, to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. And also don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur and also on Twitter or X at DGoddess27. Okay, so with that all been said, I love you all to life. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. And I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Hit 'em with that flavor. Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got